This is Northern Light for Friday, July 24th. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Food insecurity is sharply rising in our region. A food collection event in Potsdam aims to help pantries stock up for a busy season ahead.
Everybody's in the same boat right now with the prices of food and gas and everything. If you need food, just stop in.
Also on the show, the state DEC wants to implement a new strategy for pheasant conservation that focuses on recruiting new hunters.
Once folks are outside and they're experiencing the great outdoors that we have here in New York State and the wildlife, the habitats, that then they value that. They'll work to protect it.
And we'll check in with John Warren for trail conditions ahead of a beautiful weekend in the Adirondacks.
All that's just ahead on Northern Light. Stick with us. Support for Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio comes from AJA Architecture and Planning in Glens Falls, providing architecture, planning, and interior design services for residential, commercial, and community spaces throughout the North Country. AJAarchitecture.com. And from the Adirondack Community Foundation, where generous donors, fund holders, and change makers come together to address the Adirondack region's biggest challenges, including housing, childcare, and career pathways. ADKcommunityfoundation.org.
This is Northern Light. I'm Catherine Wheeler.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. A lot of people are struggling to make ends meet right now. Prices are high, and it's getting more difficult to afford the basics, including groceries. Yesterday, we visited the Urban Mission in Watertown, which has seen a sharp increase in the number of families in need of help. In part 2 of our series, we stop in St. Lawrence County, where a volunteer food collection event helps food pantries stock up to meet the increased demand. Catherine Wheeler was there and has our story.
I have soups and chili, so I probably put some in somewhere.
Under a big white tent in the Potsdam Walmart parking lot, 24 tables are piled with food and toiletries.
The lighter stuff, throw it on top.
Each looks like a miniature grocery store. Cans of vegetables, instant noodles, jars of peanut butter, paper towels, body wash. People are driving up to drop off bags of food. Volunteers have their hands full and are walking table to table, sorting through the goods.
We've been accepting donations from members of the community to support 21 food pantries serving families across St. Lawrence County.
That's Dawn Cole. She's the CEO of the United Way of Northern New York.
This is really going to be a big help to local pantries to help them prepare for what will be a peak season in July and August when the kids are out of school.
The United Way has hosted events like this one in Jefferson and Lewis counties for years. This is the first one in St. Lawrence County. Cole says as the need for help has grown, the United Way has decided to expand its reach.
We know that the poverty rate is high here, food insecurity is high, and so it was important to us to spend more time in St. Lawrence County talking with community partners, kind of rallying the troops, gathering support, building awareness, and hosting this initiative.
Food insecurity levels in the U.S. are rising. Right now, they're higher than they were during the first summer of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The data shows it's particularly straining lower educated and lower income households and families with young children. 1 in 6 families are using food pantries to make ends meet. Tammy Save runs Helping Hands, a nonprofit based in Hanawa Falls.
I'd say it's doubled, especially for the soup kitchen. Yeah, and there's a huge increase into the food pantry itself.
Save says she expects the need to increase even more in the coming months. Last year, President Donald Trump and Congress made sweeping cuts to the federal food assistance program, SNAP. Those changes are now kicking in, including new work requirements to receive benefits. In the North Country, about 5 to 16% of people use SNAP, and thousands could lose their benefits. Save says pantries are just beginning to see the effects.
Our client service representative is starting to track people coming in that are saying they just lost their food stamp benefits. So I think some of it, the growth that we're going to see in the near future, is going to be clients who have recently lost benefits that are coming in.
Save says that might mean new faces at the food pantry, those who didn't expect to be there, but they're here to help.
Everybody's in the same boat right now with the prices of food and gas and everything. If you need food, just stop in. It's private. We don't share that information. You're welcome to come.
At the collection event in Potsdam, the Food Bank of Central New York is here. Patty Waldner says they'll pack up all these donations and deliver them to each food pantry.
They don't have to pay for their own gas. They don't have to provide any transportation. We'll just take it to them.
Waldner says getting supplies to food pantries from the food bank's warehouse in Syracuse to St. Lawrence County can be a big challenge because of the distance. It only happens a few times a month.
It's our responsibility to remember that it's not on them to come to us. It's on us to go to them. And that's the challenge. We have the food. The food is available. It's just a matter of getting the food to the people.
The United Way says this food drive is a good first step in St. Lawrence County. Officials say they want to build more local connections to make events like this one even more impactful for the food pantries as their need continues to increase. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio in Potsdam.
New York Republicans are calling for a hearing on the state's voter registration infrastructure. It's in response to news from New Jersey that a software glitch by an outside vendor led to around 400 non-citizens voting in that state. New York state agencies have dozens of contracts with the same firm. They include Department of Motor Vehicles contracts for software that lets people apply for driver's licenses and register them to vote at the same time. Assemblymember Matt Slater is a Westchester County Republican. He says he was surprised by the news from New Jersey.
I think that should give us reason to pause and reevaluate and recalibrate.
Democrats who control the state assembly didn't comment on the call for the hearing. The New York State Board of Elections says it has a different registration process than New Jersey, and there's no indication of any errors.
3 economic development projects in the Adirondacks will share almost $500,000 in federal funding. The biggest winner is the village-owned Mount Pisgah ski area in Saranac Lake, which will get $250,000 for a larger snow-making pump and a new pump house to improve ski conditions. The Lake Placid Chamber of Commerce, part of the Regional Office of Sustainable Tourism, will get $120,000 to build a new digital marketplace for Adirondack artisans and small creative businesses. The town of Long Lake will use $100,000 to decide what to do about Jennings Pond Dam, which blew out during heavy rains in 2023. The town could rebuild the dam or develop nature-based recreation. The money comes from the Northern Border Regional Commission, which distributed almost $2 million in all to economic development projects in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York.
And local businesses in the town of Adams in Jefferson County say a road construction project has cut their sales in half. Crews with the Department of Transportation started road work on West Church Street last Monday. The project has disrupted traffic on multiple streets. According to WWNY-TV, store owners say the timing is bad because summer is their busiest season. They say sales have dropped by nearly 50% since construction began. Some business owners have had to cut workers to reduce costs. Others say they're worried about keeping their businesses afloat during the winter. The state plans to reopen the street in late August. This is NCPR. listening to Northern Light, only here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:11. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around. We'll check outdoor conditions ahead of a sunny weekend in the Adirondacks.
That's coming up in just a moment here on NCPR, which is supported by Barstow Subaru Potsdam, committed to the safety and security of all-wheel drive. Details at barstowsubaru.com. And from NCC Systems, providing businesses and homes with fire alarms, surveillance, and access control systems. Full-service facilities in Plattsburgh, Watertown, and Potsdam. NCCsystems.com. Support also comes from you.
Last summer, when Congress cut funding for public media, we asked for your help. You came through, and now nearly all of NCPR's support comes from the North Country community. With federal funding gone for good, your help is essential for the future, for breaking news, for podcasts that keep you entertained, and music that lifts you up. Donate now at ncpr.org/give. And thank you so much. The case of a rabid beaver biting 2 men on Lake George this summer is drawing attention to rabies treatment. Although rabies can be deadly, it's preventable with awareness and a few simple precautions. NCPR intern Aram Tuanachifchi reports.
On July 4th, a man from Burlington and his friends went for what they thought would be a typical day on Lake George. But while swimming near Turtle Island, he and one friend were bitten by a beaver that may have had rabies. The State Department of Environmental Conservation issued an advisory shortly after the incident and held a press conference. Jackie Landrum from the DEC said it's nearly impossible to confirm that beaver had rabies.
There's lots of beavers in and around Lake George. And so for us to trap a particular beaver and know that we got the one would really be impossible.
Instead, Landrum said the DEC is focusing on educating people about how to avoid wildlife that may be infected with rabies. She said a healthy beaver would normally avoid people and swim away. If a beaver approaches a person instead, that's unusual behavior and people should keep their distance.
We're visitors in their home, and we shouldn't be approaching them. We shouldn't be climbing on a beaver lodge. We shouldn't be trying to get closer to get better pictures, that sort of thing. Just give them some space.
Kevin Hines, also from the DEC, said rabies is relatively uncommon in beavers because the virus doesn't adapt well to them. He said raccoons and bats are the most common rabies carriers in New York.
In raccoons, they are very often transmitting it to other raccoons or any mammal that they come across. So any mammal is susceptible to rabies infection.
In Essex County, 3 animals have tested positive for rabies this year. 1 skunk, 1 raccoon, and 1 fox. St. Lawrence and Lewis counties each reported 1 rabid raccoon last week. Carly Zimmerman with the St. Lawrence County Public Health Department says it was the county's first rabies case of the year. She says there were 8 cases last year, including 1 skunk and 7 raccoons.
We're not quite at a point yet where we can say, this is statistically significantly higher versus just that normal variation.
Zimmerman says rabies is almost always fatal for both animals and humans, but it's entirely preventable with post-exposure treatment. She says people should notify their local health department if a wild animal comes into contact with them or their pets to determine whether treatment is needed. Rabies treatment isn't cheap. Shots can cost more than $4,000. But you don't have to pay all that. Zimmerman says the county helps cover the cost.
As far as billing, it would go through the person's insurance, and then we would cover the rest of that cost because we don't want any financial reason to be a reason why someone doesn't get treatment.
Zimmerman also recommends keeping pets up to date with pre-exposure vaccinations. She says pets can easily get into homes through open windows or small openings, especially during hot summer weather. The New York State Department of Health is offering free and low-cost rabies vaccination clinics for pets through county health departments throughout the summer. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Iram Tuanachifchi in Canton.
This week, Franklin County announced new confirmed rabies cases in a fox and a raccoon after reporting 3 cases earlier this summer. Officials urge anyone who is bitten by or has contact with a wild animal to contact their local health department.
The DEC is closing several campsites in the St. Regis Canoe area due to a nuisance bear. According to a press release, the DEC says paddlers should avoid the western and northern shores of Long Pond and refrain from camping at sites 5 through 11. The DEC says a bear in the area has been approaching people looking for food, damaging tents and food containers, and exhibiting minimal fear of humans. It also doesn't seem to be deterred by things like bear spray and loud noises. The DEC is monitoring the bear and asks visitors to report any encounters with it. The St. Regis Canoe area is one of the Northeast's most remote wilderness areas with many no-reservation campsites on its lakes.
The State Department of Environmental Conservation wants to recruit pheasant hunters to promote preservation. The New York Public News Network's Sophia Imbriaco has more.
Last month, the New York DEC released a strategic plan that, over the next decade, would shift state efforts away from trying to restore wild pheasant habitat and toward recruiting hunters. Jackie Lendrum, director of the state's Division of Fish and Wildlife, explains the DEC is aiming to promote a conservation ethic through hunting.
Once folks are outside and they're experiencing the great outdoors that we have here in New York State and the wildlife, the habitats, that then they value that. They'll work to protect it.
Lendrum says many people getting into hunting are interested in connecting with where their food comes from.
One of the growing populations of new hunters that we're seeing are actually women in their mid to early 30s. And what you're seeing is that people really want to be involved and know where their food is coming from, right? And so there is nothing more natural or more organic than meat that you harvest yourself.
Since the early 20th century, pheasants have been a favorite of small game hunters in New York, and hunting them is an accessible way to get into the sport. However, New York's wild pheasant populations are at an all-time low. As New York DEC biologist and small game unit leader Joshua Stiller explains, this is largely due to habitat loss.
We had a lot of areas of New York that the landscape has just changed significantly. We've lost grasslands. We've lost the habitat that would otherwise support pheasants in New York State.
As pheasant hunting remains popular, the state raises and releases over 30,000 pheasants annually on lands open to the public for hunting. The new pheasant stocking plan would increase the number of stocking locations near major population centers and promote awareness of public pheasant hunting opportunities. The state's DEC is accepting comments on the plan through July 25th. For the New York Public News Network, I'm Sophia Imbriaco.
The North Country is hosting 2 major bass fishing tournaments this weekend. The Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit of Major League Fishing will drop lines in Lake Champlain. Some of the best anglers in the country will take off today, tomorrow, and Sunday mornings at 6:30 from the Plattsburgh City Marina. Weigh-ins are at 2:30 in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the Northern Division of Major League Fishing's Toyota Series is fishing the St. Lawrence. Anglers launched this morning at 6 from the Messina Intake Boat Launch. They'll be doing so tomorrow and Sunday mornings, too, at 6. Weigh-ins are at 2 o'clock in the afternoon each day. The St. Lawrence River Tournament is different than in previous years because anglers are prohibited from cruising upriver to the Thousand Islands and Lake Ontario. Instead, they'll have to stay within the 27 miles between the Iroquois Dam in Lisbon and the Moses Saunders Dam in Messina.
One of the few remaining flower shops in St. Lawrence County is celebrating its 75th anniversary next month. Frank White opened White's Flowers in Canton in 1950 and expanded his business over 34 years. During a friend's visit, Brenda and Mike Snow bought the store after being impressed by White's floral arrangement skills. The Snows ran the business for more than 40 years before passing it on last year to their neighbors and current owners, Ed and Kathy Palmer. The Palmers are exploring opening a summer satellite store in Alex Bay. The store is celebrating the anniversary with a ribbon cutting and cake on Friday, August 7th in Canton.
And in North Country baseball, the Malone Border Hounds beat the North Country Thunderbirds 18-8 yesterday. And the Tupper Lake River Pigs beat the Saranac Surge 12-4. The Surge play the Thunderbirds this afternoon at Racket Pond Stadium in Tupper Lake. First pitch is at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Then later this evening, the Border Hounds face the River Pigs at 7 o'clock in Tupper. This is NCPR. listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's just about 8:22. I'm Monica Sandreski. Good morning.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around after the show for Bird Note, coming up at 8:42. With our eyes to the skies, sunset in Childwold is at 8:32 tonight, and the moon, if you can look up, is a waxing gibbous at 79% of full.
At last check, it was 65 degrees in Malone, 52 degrees in Newcomb right now, and in Old Forge, too. 62 degrees in Glens Falls, and a balmy 67 degrees in Cape Vincent in the beautiful Thousand Islands this morning. You can expect sunny skies heading your way today with highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Light winds out of the south to southwest, 5 to 15 miles per hour expected. And it should be a pretty dry and seasonable and quiet weekend ahead. Great for getting outside. Today's air quality is good, too. As we head into next week, there is more rain and thunderstorms in the forecast headed our way, maybe starting on Sunday. But for a look at how all this impacts the trail conditions and outdoor recreation conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend, here's John Warren with the New York Almanac.
In the Adirondack High Peaks on Saturday, the sun will rise at 5:35 a.m. and set at 8:28 p.m. We're now losing about 2 minutes of daylight each day. Though there could be some afternoon showers on Sunday, it's shaping up to be a pleasant summer weekend. Expect popular areas, including boat launches, camping areas, and trailheads, to be busy. The fire danger is elevated, so be sure to keep a close eye on open fires and never leave even a smoldering fire unattended. Water levels are a bit below normal for this time of year in the southern Adirondacks, about normal in the central Adirondacks, and a bit above normal in the northern Adirondacks. The Hudson River is expected to be at about 2.5 feet through the weekend on the gauge at North Creek, and the Racket River will be at about 4 feet on the gauge at Piercefield. Lake Champlain is at about 95 feet. The water temperature there has fallen into the upper 60s. At Mirror Lake, the water temperature is about 70 degrees. DEC has closed several popular campsites, numbers 1 through 5, at Long Pond in the St. Regis Canoe area in Franklin County. They say a black bear has been approaching people in the area looking for food, damaging tents, and food storage containers, and exhibiting a minimal fear of humans. It has been resistant to bear spray and loud noises. Once learned, these behaviors generally escalate over time. If you see a bear exhibiting this kind of fearlessness, contact DEC with its location. Avoid this area of Long Pond for now. Those are the outdoor conditions in the Adirondacks this weekend. For North Country Public Radio, this is John Warren from the New York Almanac. Online at newyorkalmanac.com.
Always lots to do throughout the region, including coming up this evening. Spend an evening with the symphony presented by the Fulton Chain of Lakes Performing Arts Council. The public, that includes you, is invited for a concert by the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra this evening at 7:30. It's at Arrowhead Park in Inlet. And the orchestra will be performing classical and pop music. There's also a free family concert and an instrument petting zoo that'll be held at 3 o'clock beforehand. You can find more info about that and ticketing information on our community calendar page. Go to ncpr.org/calendar.
You can find lots there at ncpr.org/calendar. And if you want, you take advantage of this beautiful weather today. If you're around Canton this afternoon, head to the Village Green for a free Yoga in the Park class. All are welcome. No experience needed for this 1-hour session provided by the Yoga Loft. That's today at 11 o'clock at the Canton Village Park.
Then tomorrow, Lena the Lizard Lady is back at the North Country Children's Museum in Potsdam, and she's bringing friends. There's a live show. The audience members who come will get an up-close look at dozens of snakes and mammals, too, including a live sloth. There'll be 2 performances back-to-back, one at 11 and the next one at noon. That's Lena the Lizard Lady and friends, including the sloth, at the North Country Children's Museum in Potsdam tomorrow morning.
And on Sunday, head out to Lake Luzerne for the Adirondack Folk School Summer Festival. There will be live music, food, artist demos, and activities for the whole family. That's the Adirondack Folk Schools Summer Festival in Lake Luzerne this Sunday from 10 to 4.
And lots of communities throughout the area have been doing live outdoor summer music shows, summer concert series. You can find them in Norfolk, Norwood, Saranac Lake, too. And this evening, head out to Long Lake. They do their shows on the town beach. So you can dance into the weekend there. It starts at 6 o'clock, goes till 8 from Music by the Lake. Tonight, they'll be hosting Ashley Wineland, a country musician, starting at 6 o'clock. And we've got a little bit of a preview. This is her song, Crank It Up.
Facing the crowd, I wanna see you coming around. Give me the lightning, give me the thunder, adrenaline pumping. We're going under. Crank it up, crank it up, yeah, crank it. Turn it on, burn it down. Feel the fire, make it loud. Crank it up, crank it up.
You can hear Ashley Wineland performing tonight at the Music by the Lake Summer Concert Series. That's on the Long Lake Town Beach, starting at 6 o'clock Fridays throughout the summer. That's it for the show. I'm Monica Standreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Be well.